Hey, everybody. It's Jeff Hall, Thursdays at Audubon. We just have another minute or so before we go live. So I will let you know that we're also streaming this on Facebook Live because we just want to take all the chances in the world of going live Zoom and live Facebook at the same time. As people are getting on, I just want to tell you, this is our second Thursday with Audubon. Last week, we did a great nature trivia. We're taking next Thursday off. Well, you know, it's National Bird Day, except everybody wants to eat them. They don't want to watch them on that next Thursday. The first Thursday in December, we're going to do bingo. So you have to get your bingo card in advance of that Thursday, and I think it's the 3rd. So we'll have that information up on the website, and you can download your bingo card. And then on the second Thursday of December, we will have, and I'm not sure how this is going to go, but Eco Improv. And I know that they were doing some filming yesterday, and they were laughing and laughing. So I know it's going to be fun. I just don't know what's going to happen. So you and I will find out together on that Thursday. Everything starts at 7. So we're going to get started now. It's now 7, so let's kick it off. I am thrilled to have our guest with us tonight. Ray Brown is the nationally syndicated radio and podcast broadcaster of Talkin Birds. Ray's been a great supporter of Audubon. He's broadcast his show from Raptor Weekend the last 2 years, but not this year, obviously. And he's come to our events. He's helped promote our activities. So it's just a real great pleasure to have him here. I'm going to do a little bio on him before I bring him on the screen. Ray has 30 years of experience in radio, and he got to start right here in Rhode Island on WNRI, the voice of Northern New England. And I'm not sure if that is really the call sign for that, but it just sounded good. And then he went out to the Cape and he worked for WCOD, the Cod of Cape Cod. So that was great. And now he is broadcasting on WCRB 99.5, the classical music station. So if you close your eyes, when Ray starts to talk, you're going to go, hey, that's the guy on the radio. He also does a lot of pledge drives on WGBH in Boston, and he's a regular contributor with Scott Simon on the weekend edition on NPR's Saturday morning show. So let me find out how to get Ray on here, and we will get going. We'll wait till Ray clicks on that special little link that says, show your video. Ray, there you are.
Am I there?
How are you?
Pretty good. I'm old when you tell all that stuff.
Did I say 30 years? I meant dog years. It's like 7. Only
yeah, exactly.
7 years on the radio.
More like 12, probably, yeah.
Again, Ray, thanks so much for being here, and thanks for all that you do for promoting Audubon and promoting birding, all around the world, right?
Well, yeah, technically, yeah. Thanks to the magic of the internet, yeah, we do hear from people in pretty exotic locations.
I'm not sure if I may be pinned. There we go. There you go. Now you're the full screen.
Okay, I feel better.
You may not want that, but so tell us a little bit about Ray Brown and how you got started in radio.
Well, I'm from Rhode Island, by the way, from the great city of Pawtucket. And as you mentioned, Jeff, I started in radio at WNRI. And I'm sure they'd be thrilled by that little slogan you gave them, covering all of Northern New England. They really only cover Woonsocket and part of North Smithfield, I think. But
they're growing though, right?
Yeah. I will say they were the #2 station in Woonsocket. there were only 2, but still, it's pretty good. Yeah, so that's where I started. And what was the other part of that question?
Tell us a little bit about Ray Brown.
Oh, okay. Well, so from there, I, as you mentioned, went to the COD WCOD down on Cape Cod, actually in between in Providence, WJAR in the Outlet Company building.
You're
Yeah,
dating yourself really now.
yeah, I know. That's probably not there anymore.
I don't think
The last
I think
25.
the building is there, but
The building is still there. That's good to know. Yeah. So, and then and while I was on the Cape, I started working on weekends at WBZ in Boston, a little bit bigger station than WNRI, and doing a weekend talk show. And that's kind of where the bird show idea came from, because one Saturday morning, the topic of birds came up, and I don't even remember if I brought it up or if a listener did, but we got bombarded with phone calls about birds. And I thought, wow, this should be a show, of its own kind of standalone show. So in my fashion, I packed away the idea for about 7 or 8 years, and then decided I'll give this a try. And we got a station down on the South Shore in Massachusetts that decided to gamble on it. And I remember them saying, don't expect anybody to call for the first couple of months. But people called in right away, kind of reflecting that previous experience. And so we're still on that station there, WATD, down in Marshfield. And then we've added a bunch of other stations and live streaming and podcasts. If you have time, I can tell you about that call letters, WATD. When they first went on the air, they were trying to find a location, and the town was giving them a hard time. They finally gave them a spot for their tower at the landfill. So the station letters stand for "We're at the dump." Anyway, I just had to tell that quick little story.
well, I never knew that GBH stood for Great Blue Hill.
Great
I don't
Blue
know
Hill.
why. It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's where their transmitter is, right up there in their tower. Yeah.
Hey,
Not-
so do you remember Morning Pro Musica?
Of course, Robert J. Lertzema.
Right. He always did bird calls on his show. So who came first, you or him?
Thanks a lot. Well, he did come first. It's interesting because when I started at the GBH owned WCRB, I was with them when it was a separate commercial station, but then it became part of GBH. When I started there, I was doing Saturday morning show there, and we were still playing those birds that Robert J. had used, which were recorded out at in Concord, Massachusetts, at the National Wildlife Refuge there in Concord. That's where those were recorded by a GBH engineer. That's probably more than you wanted to hear about those birds, but that's the story.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
I have to. What I forgot to mention though is that people who are listening, because I know that there are mobs of them out there. That is mobs. Is that a crow? Is that a group of crows? Mobs. So I'm not calling people crows. I do want to say that.
It's not a murder.
Oh, that's right. Good point. Excellent. That you can, if you have questions for Ray, we'll have some Q&A at the end. You can put them in the chat box, or if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can just do a post or whatever you do, and I'll get those questions at the end. So I just wanted to add that in there because this is my first live interview, Ray. I don't know if you know it yet, but this is a first for both of us, I think, right?
Yeah, I think we're doing great.
Good. So I listened to last week's show, and it's broadcast Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was your it was your 806th episode.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
So you must have heard a lot of bird stories in 806 episodes. So I want to know, what's the most interesting one that you've heard?
The one that it comes to mind, interesting and a little, say, unusual. We got a call from a listener in North Carolina, and he wanted to know if we ever talked about ivory-billed woodpeckers on the show. And I said, well, yeah, we have talked about ivory-billed woodpeckers. And I think it might have been shortly after Tim Gallagher was on the show with us. He's the one who discovered the ivory-billed woodpecker down in the bottomlands in Arkansas That's been, I guess, somewhat discredited since then, although he still maintains that he and his partner saw that bird.
Fake news.
Um,
Fake news, Ray.
yeah, indeed. So anyway, we said we had talked about that bird. He said, "Well, that's good because I have two of them in my backyard right now." So that was pretty startling, and we encouraged him to get photos. And we told him he would be the birder of the year or the birder of the decade if he got some photos of that ivory bill. And oddly enough, we never heard from him again.
Oh, no.
I don't know what happened. But, yeah,
He didn't. He became too famous. Maybe that's for us.
he didn't want that fame.
Right. Okay, so that's your most unusual. What's the most frequently asked question you get on the show about birds?
Um, well, we get a lot of questions from email, I think, more than the show, because most of the calls we do on the show are, our mystery bird contest. So
Hold that thought, because we got one of those for you tonight.
oh, okay. Oh, gee. So I think the biggest, you get questions about feeding birds, and is it bad to feed hummingbirds in the fall because they won't migrate, and they will. But I think the number one question probably is about, why is this cardinal trying to get into my house? Because he's banging on my kitchen window and he obviously wants to come in. And, obviously the conventional wisdom is that he's seeing his reflection there as a rival and attacking the rival. But people aren't necessarily convinced of that. And they kind of feel bad that they aren't really trying to come in to their house.
Have you ever had a show on April 1st and then you could just make up an answer just for the fun of it?
We have, mostly when we do and had an April 1st show, we kind of hook onto our friend Mike O'Connor from the Birdwatcher store on the Cape, because he has the most elaborate April Fool's jokes. For example, a few years ago, he posted that the Cape Cod Canal had been drained for repair work. And people drove from great distances to see that, and some of them were not that happy when they got there and found out the canal had not really been drained. But next year we might post some photos of our new Talkin Birds World Headquarters on April 1st matches with our show.
Excellent.
We have some plans for that. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, now a reason for us to tune in and have something to look forward to in April.
Yeah, exactly.
If we all make it that far, right? So you have been promoting a new cause in birding, and and I've called it planking and pledunking and all kinds of other names. So I'm going to ask you to tell us what it is, and then explain a little bit about it. And I know that you want to show some slides, so I am going to let you share those slides with us. And I say that like I know what I'm doing here on Zoom. Okay.
Yeah, too bad we didn't think of that pledunking idea. I like that name. But we call it plurting, which is kind of a mashup of picking up litter while birding. And it's really kind of borrowed from some folks in Sweden who started this thing called plogging, picking up litter while jogging. And we figured if people can jog and pick up litter, we ought to be able to do it if we're birding. We don't have to go as fast. We're not going
to be more coordinated if you're jogging. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's so that's what we're trying to do, and we've coordinated with a bunch of different people. We're trying to add some supporters to the idea, but we have some pictures here of some of our flirting. If I can get this to go, there's our Debbie Bleacher. She's our senior producer, and she's flirting. As you can see, she's quite an expert flirter. She's got a full bag of trash, and that's just in her backyard. So,
that's more gear to carry. Hope she doesn't go with scope with that.
Okay, and here's our Freya McGregor. She's down in Alabama now, but I think when she took this, she's part of an Army family, so she's traveling around a lot. But here she is in Kentucky, doing a little flirting there and showing that it's possible to bird and plurd at the same time. So she's doing that. And here's the legendary Mike O'Connor, who's he's got quite an elegant birding bag, as you can see.
Wow, he's
Yeah,
in
we're trying.
business, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't want any of that those junky trash bags or anything. So there he is doing his thing there somewhere on the Cape. Here's Donna Cooper, our friend from Merrimack Valley Bird Club up in Andover, Mass. And she's got her little Talkin Birds patch on there. See,
Oh, nice plug. Nice plug.
she's got her stuff there. And here's a man who was arrested while flirting, apparently. um, no, this is actually our friend Craig Gibson, who's down in Virginia. I think he's showing this that he's wearing gloves, some surgical gloves there. So
He's a serious flirter.
Yeah, he's got it all figured out there, and he's got a lot of stuff in that backpack, which I hope he didn't have that when he went out. I think he got that, filled that up while he was out there. But anyway, that's, I think I said Craig Gibson, that's his brother, who's in charge of the Crow Patrol, by the way, up in the Lawrence, Mass area. But this is Dave down in Virginia. And these are some young ladies that our friend Freya found in Kentucky, and they're flirting, and they didn't even know about flirting. They actually knew, they're doing it without knowing about it, but that's okay.
It's so spreading virally before your eyes.
Exactly. So they're doing this little buddy system there, one with the backpack. So that's pretty good. That's one of the top prototypes, I think, as we kind of figure out the best way to do this. And there's yours truly, and I even have the mask on there, so you know this is a fairly recent photo.
Socially distant flirting.
Exactly, distant right from the trash and everything.
Right.
Down in Marshfield, Mass. And this, I had to conclude this, Jeff, because this says Audubon Society of Rhode Island right on there.
I'm liking that. How come you didn't start off with that slide?
And that, yeah, these things get mixed up, when you're trying to put them together. But there we are at Raptor Weekend on, I don't know, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you that you have a COVID here now, because you haven't been to the barber. I can see. Look at that groomed hair there.
I know, that's the haircut I got. Yeah, look at that. It's practically a crew cut I got. Picture there. Yeah, that might have been the time that we had the Laughing Kookaburra with us as a guest on the show.
I remember that. That was fun.
We'll never top that one.
No.
This is what I usually do here. This is the original Talkin Birds World Headquarters before we move into that really big place. We'll go first next year or whenever that comes about.
Nice. And then we go. And a little artwork. What's that called?
This is really, I'm sorry, this is kind of off topic, but I didn't know if you could see that painting behind me. It was done by an artist friend called Joe Fontaine. He gave me this print of one of his paintings, and all I know is that it's somewhere in Rhode Island, and I never found out where it was. And I just included it here in case anybody watching would know where this is.
Oh, well, we'll have to check the feed here and see if anyone knows that. Okay, so we'll have two prizes today once we do our quiz later on. And whoever comes up with that spot, if it's right, we'll throw one of those in too.
Okay.
So do you have to sign up to be a flirter, or do you just go out and flirt?
You can do either one. You can do one before the other, or the sequence is really not important. We have a wonderful page our Freya McGregor put together on our website. So it's talkinbirds.com/flirting.
Okay.
There's all kinds. It's like 7 or 8 pages of ideas for individuals and for bird clubs and for other organizations to do flirting. So we're just kind of throwing the idea out there and asking people to say, hey, we tried this and this worked, using one of those Mike O'Connor special bags or bag or whatever. So we're kind of just letting people, say what's the best idea. And we have some birding clubs that are trying it. It's gotten slowed down a little bit by the pandemic, but that'll get going again, we hope soon. And we kind of asking people to experiment. How does it work better? If one person in the group has the trash bag, or if everybody does, or however that might.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to promote that on our social media and get Rhode Islanders out there.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you have another part of your web. So you have the radio show, the podcast, and then you have a great website. And before we go, we'll give the talkinbirds.com website address again. But
Right.
you have an ambassadors program, and I happen to know that you have a huge ambassador, two of them. One that is, I can see from the Zoom call on the list right now,
Wow.
Candy Powell, who promotes everything Ray Brown does. And I know that her husband, just a plug for Audubon, has got an incredible photo show down at the Nature Center this month. So amazing bird photographs. So if you have a chance, go there before November 30th, because the governor is shutting down the state again for 2 weeks, but it'll be up longer than that. So you'll be able to have a chance to get there. But what is an ambassador, and how does one become an ambassador? Do you have to pay money to you to get to be that? Or like own the jets or something like that?
You don't have to pay money. I mean, it's okay if you do, but no, you can just go to our website, and there's a tab at the top that says Get Involved, and if you click on that tab, you can sign up, and you're an ambassador automatically. And we don't ask you any questions, so we accept you as you are, and you can become a Talkin Birds ambassador. And basically what we do is we send you a bunch of these little cards. These about our show.
I have seen those cards.
You've seen those, yeah. And then just hand them out to your friends and neighbors and fellow birders, and at your convenience. And that's about it. It's not too complicated. So yeah, we have, as of this afternoon, Jeff, we have 555 ambassadors. Quite a few in Rhode Island, including Candy and Chris and a bunch of other folks. And we're in every state except South Dakota for some reason.
Slackers.
But, we're still looking for an ambassador there, but we have ambassadors in Canada and in a bunch of other countries. So it's really exciting that we have this wonderful response from people who just sign up, and we never do any direct solicitation. We just do it on the air on the show and say, hey, if you want to join, go ahead. So that's why it's so exciting, because we haven't said, hey, will you be an ambassador? We just do it on the air.
Right. Oh, that's great. All right. So you have ambassadors all around the world, and obviously, you're a birder. So I'm gonna, do a little sort of Ray Brown questioning. So where's the most exotic place? I had to check my spelling of that you've been birding.
I guess it would have to be the Galapagos Islands.
That's chatty.
Went there a couple of years ago, and I mean, it's just a phenomenal place. So many endemic birds there, incredible birds, like the swallow-tailed gull and lava gulls and flightless cormorants. And, if you're there, you're actually swimming with flightless cormorants as well as looking at them. So, yeah, and we did a broadcast of our show from there, from the boat that we were on, which was quite an adventure. I mean, the boat, the broadcast part, in addition to the other part. We were kind of, we didn't have Wi-Fi or cell on the boat, which is what we need for our broadcast. So our very cooperative captain had us just flying toward one of the islands where there was cell service to get our show on the air. And we made the connection literally 5 minutes before we were to broadcast a show. And we were able to do the show right from our boat, going pretty fast through the waters of the Galapagos Islands.
Well, I don't feel so bad than all the little prep we did 5 minutes before this show.
Exactly.
We weren't racing anywhere. So that's the most exotic.
Yeah.
So my next question: Where's the most productive? So where have you seen the most birds? But that could be very well the same spot.
Does it have to be the most species or just the most birds?
How about both?
How about just the most birds?
Okay.
Well, no, actually, for most species, I was fortunate to do a trip to the Manu Nature Center in Peru a few years ago, and there was a phenomenal array of birds there in the rainforest and in the cloud forest, Andean cock of the rock and all these other amazing birds. But the most number of birds was on the Platte River in Nebraska. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with that, with the sandhill cranes as their stopping off point. And according to the folks from the Audubon chapter there, their estimate was 400,000 birds, 400,000 sandhill cranes. And to see them there, staging on the sandbars in the river and hearing them, just chattering before dawn. And we were in the blind before dawn. And then as the sun came up, to see them take off in every direction out to the farm fields, and then see this reverse at dusk, seeing them come back in the hundreds of thousands. That's a spectacle you wouldn't forget. I don't think I could top that number either.
So this bird show gets you, it's a pretty good gig here you got going there, don't you?
Yeah, we've been to some pretty cool places, Grand Canyon and Yosemite, and we've been to the Canopy Tower in Panama, which was really a cool place too. Yeah. So
I've heard of that. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be an impressive life list. How many birds do you have on your life list?
I have 12.
And then you stopped counting.
Yeah, I said a dozen. That's good. I mean, so I just I don't really, I used to keep a life list, but I kind of stopped doing it, and I've become more of a serendipitous birder, I guess, where I just go to a place or go, by, happenstance or at random, or sometimes where I hear about a bird and go there and just see what I see. And I don't know, kind of keep the memory of what I saw. And the other thing is, if I see a bird and I don't know if I've seen it before, if I have a list, I go there, I'd say I saw that before. But if I don't have a list, it's like, wow, I hadn't seen this bird before.
So what is now we talked last week, and that you did get down to see the cuckoo.
I did indeed, yeah.
But then I said, so that's the first time you saw it? And you went, well, no, I saw it in wherever, Egypt or the Nile. I don't know where you saw it, but.
No, I think what I might have said is I saw it twice in the same place. We went down one day, and then I recruited my brother, who lives actually in Cumberland, not far at all from there, to come and try to see it. And we went back and saw it again. But I didn't see it in Egypt. I've never been to Egypt, so.
Hey, next
if
year.
I'd gone there, I'm sure.
Always next year. So you do a lot of birding. What are some of the trends that are happening in birding or birds, or what are you, over your career of, shows, what are some of the trends you're seeing?
One of the interesting trends now, and I will kind of cite Rick Wright, who's an amazing birder, based in New Jersey now, and a birder and blogger, a really brilliant guy who leads these, I think he calls them art and bird tours. And so he combines cultural activities with birding. And so the idea is that instead of always just saying, okay, today I'm going birding and tomorrow I'm going fishing, it kind of combines these things. And he I think he has his pulse on a lot of what's going on, particularly with young birders. And his thought is that this is really a kind of thing where we're incorporating different things together. So we don't just say, I'm going on a bird walk today. I'm going to such and such a place, and I'm going to look at birds too while I'm there. So he would talk about going to a museum, and after going to the museum and looking at fine art, going out behind the museum and looking at birds and making it kind of a cross-cultural experience. So that's kind of an interesting trend. And I've heard other people talk about that as well. So.
Oh, that's nice. What can we do to help birds?
I'd
like to throw these challenging questions out
there. Yeah, I could talk about, well, I think most folks who are watching this already belong to Audubon Society of Rhode Island.
Well,
Uh,
I certainly hope so, but if
yeah.
you haven't, before the 31st, you can make your donation and we'll make you a member.
Okay, that's a great idea. So, I mean, seriously, that's a wonderful thing to support groups like Audubon in Rhode Island. I know you have some wonderful programs for peregrines and lots of other things. And there are so many wonderful conservation groups around, like Cornell Lab of Ornithology and the Nature Conservancy and National Audubon, and so many groups that operate nationally and internationally to help birds. So I think just becoming a member of Audubon Society of Rhode Island and other groups as well. I mean, you don't have to belong to just one group, certainly. There are lots of groups to belong to, and then become active in those groups. And I think also just try to be aware of the things that are going on in the world that impact birds, from oil drilling to rampant development. And there's the whole idea of keeping track of that and being involved with contacting your legislators. It's kind of I guess an old school idea, but I think it's still a really, really effective one to let your legislators know what you think about various issues. I mean, from people who do it a lot more than I do tell me that it really works. It really has an impact because not that many people do it. And when you do it, I think it can really mean something.
Right. We had the director of the National Wildlife Foundation. I think that's it. But he came up and they had a campaign of birders vote. And he wanted people to get out and say, if every birder voted, although we just had the election, but if you go to Georgia, if every birder voted, all the troubles would go away because we would take the environment seriously and we would make a lot of good in the world. So
we talked, I just want to add, we talked about this a little bit on our show before the election with a group called envirovote.org, formed because so many environmentalists don't vote. It's kind of shocking when you see that, but the percentages of people who really identify themselves as environmentalists don't vote in big numbers. So we were kind of promoting this envirovote.org organization to encourage people who really care about the environment to vote.
Nice. Okay, well, we're coming to our half hour, but I have a few more things I have to do. And if anyone has watched your show, Ray, they know that you do a quiz of, mystery bird.
Yeah.
So I have come up with 3 mystery birds.
I've got it. It's common eider.
Not yet. And if you can get 2 out of the 3, I'll give you the Rhode Island Birding Trails book as your prize.
All right.
And if you don't get 2 out of the 3, you can still purchase it at our website at asri.org.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, so I've tried to practice this. So here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear that?
I could say I don't hear it, and then where I can't get it wrong.
Nice try. Okay, let me give you a hint because you always give hints.
Yeah.
This, you did a relative of this bird on your show on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
It was your lead bird.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give my guess right now.
Okay.
Carolina chickadee.
Perfect. Close enough.
Close
Black
enough.
cat.
Oh, a black cat. Okay. I told you I
Okay.
couldn't hear it.
But
I thought it was going to be too easy if it was black cat.
okay. So okay, that's number 1, and so it's I'll give you half a point for that. All right. So the next one here. Where's the? Oh, it's over here.
Ooh.
Oh.
Do I get a hint on this one?
Hint. Yep. Let me. So this is a bird that eats birds.
Yeah.
And sometimes its call is put in on top. Well, no, it's not. That's a red-tailed hawk. Ooh,
Yeah.
That's not the one. So
All in all the movies.
Yep. It I'm trying to give you the little write-up that it says for the overview for it. Whether it's wheeling over a swamp forest or whistling plaintively from a ravine park, this bird is typically a sign of tall woods and water.
Wow. Wouldn't be a Cooper's hawk, would it?
Oh, you're in the right
Yeah.
realm, but
Yeah.
I gave away the first word when I
What did you say again?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, you can't say it again. I couldn't hear really.
Okay, so if you were playing football and you had these on your upper body,
Oh, like red ones?
and like that color,
Yeah. Red shoulders.
red, yeah.
Red shoulders.
Come on over.
I can only think of red-shouldered hawk, but I'm sure that.
There we go. Oh, great. Bing, 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 bing. That is not the prize-winning thing. I should have had a bing, bing, bing. Okay, one more. Now, this one should be easy for someone with a keen eye and a keen ear. Your eye's not going to work this one because you can't see it. Okay, here we go.
Was that it? I can hear a kookaburra in the background.
That is the kookaburra. Bing, bing, bing. I had to do that because we had the kookaburra at Raptor Weekend, so I thought that was a giveaway. You are the winner of the Rhode Island Birding Trails book.
Thank you. Wow, I just sneaked in there barely.
You just got under the line. 2.5. Okay, if anyone has a question that they'd like to ask Ray, if you tap it into the chat or send us a post, I will get those. We're going to wrap up here. Why don't you tell us, Ray, how people can listen to the show, when to listen to the show, all that good, self-promotion.
Yeah. So the show is live on Sunday mornings, 9:30 to 10. That would be Eastern. So you can hear it on various radio stations that are listed on our website, and 2 in Rhode Island, WCRI 95.9 based in Westerly, and WADK down in
that's in Newport.
In Newport, yes. So you can hear it on WADK as well, and we also stream the show live. You can get that through our website, and then we podcast the show so you can hear it anytime. And you can find that through our website or iTunes or most podcast providers.
And the website is talkingbirds.com?
Yes, except there's no G in there.
Talkin.
Talkin Birds.
Talkin Birds.
We made it talkin instead of talking, so you wouldn't think it was a show about, birds that talk. So that was our...
Mr. Ed would be the co-host and you'd be out of a job. Okay, so I got a couple of questions in here. It says, a woodpecker is pecking holes in our house. How do I stop this?
I'll go by what our man Mike O'Connor says he found is the most effective thing is to hang strips of sort of mylar tape down the side of the house, and they kind of blow around, and they seem to really deter the woodpeckers from
I've never heard of that.
out of your house.
I thought you would say tape them to the house.
Yeah, he's tried a lot of different things and heard from a lot of different customers about it, and he seems to think that's the most effective.
Here we go. We love feeding our backyard birds. We have seen a lot of blue jays this year. I get this question a lot. What's going on?
I don't know.
That's not a good answer.
I don't know. Blue jays seem to be very erratic in their numbers like that. Sometimes I hear talk about a big massed crop of acorns and so forth in a particular year, maybe affecting the subsequent population of blue jays. But I live right here in the city in Boston, and we don't get a lot of blue jays, but every once in a while there seem to be a whole bunch of them around, and they just seem to be kind of erratic that way.
Okay. Well, I have plenty at my feeders at my house, and they are eating me out of house and home. Let me just say that. And let's see. And then I have this I want to give you a plug. You know, Candy Powell says your show is the best ever. Make sure you check it out on Sunday. Be a regular guest. And that's it. So last question.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you can leave our audience today? You talked about voting. You talked about putting, calling your reps and representatives.
Yeah.
Give us the wisdom. We've come to the mountain, and now we need the wisdom.
For birds, to protect birds, okay, may I refer to our website again about this? Because
of course you can.
Yeah, because we have a little section on there about how to help birds, and our Freya McGregor put this together, and she put 7 things on there. One is to drink bird-friendly coffee. Shade-grown coffee protects the neotropical forests where many of our birds migrate to. And by the way, now that we found out about bird-friendly wine.
I heard about that.
Yeah, look at your eyes just sparkle.
Exactly.
Yeah, there isn't a Smithsonian certification for wine yet, but they're kind of working on that. We had a guest last week or the week before talking about that. So drinking those things, bird-friendly, shade-grown coffee. Cut up 6-pack rings before you throw them away if you're not drinking wine or coffee. Don't use plastic straws. Those things are just so terrible. There are lots of good alternatives. By the way, all of these things I'm mentioning, we have links on the site that have a lot more, explaining why and what can be done. Avoid helium-filled balloons, which are just kind of like delayed trash, basically. Keep cats indoors. We know that cats kill billions of birds every year. Eat sustainable fish and seafood, and do what you can to prevent window crashes that kills so many birds, and lots of ideas out there. You can do an internet search and find a lot of great things. And one thing we don't have on there, which is really important, I think we need to add, is to avoid pesticides and rodenticides. As you know, Jeff, we're losing so many aerial insectivores because the insect populations have plummeted so much. So reducing insecticides is so important, and rodenticides as well. So.
Well, those are awesome ideas. We should all practice them. I tell you, we advocate for losing less pesticide as well. And so, hey, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for Talkin Birds, keeping it alive for everybody. It's a great show. I can't wait to listen to 807 and 8 and 9 and 10. So keep up the good work, and hope to see you when we are allowed to gather again. We'll hope to see you back for after weekend. I'll
be there. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, Ray. And everybody, thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, go see Ray at talkinbirds.com. All right. Take care. Have a great night. See you next Thursday after Thanksgiving.